I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
This is Fish Jelly.
Oh, yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay.
Yeah?
So this past week, Universal Pictures dropped a teaser trailer for Michael.
And the world was lit on fire.
I mean, it got 100 million plus views in less than a 24-hour period.
I think it's the most viewed trailer for a musical biopic. Like it beat out the views of the Taylor Swift Eras Tour trailer.
I'm not surprised. Michael Jackson is the king of pop, and his estate, since he's died, has made billions with a B, like Bobby Brown, since. So I have no doubt there will be immense interest. I think it will be a financial success. But during the past week, people have been sending the trailer to us as if we hadn't already seen it, talking about it. And so I'm asking you, because I know you watched it, what are your thoughts on the trailer?
I think
fears and concerns and predictions.
I think it's going to play it very safe. And it looks maybe a little cheaper than I would like it to. And I think watching what's his face playing Michael, his movements look great, but every time when you settle on his face, I'm like, oh, this is still distracting to me. I don't know. Jafar.
I agree. It's hard because Michael has such a distinct appearance, and it changed throughout his life. And from the looks of the trailer, we're getting him from a kid in Gary, Indiana, the Jackson 5, and then him with his breakout solo work. And it seems like it's going to end, at least this first film, because there might be two the studio had sort of hinted at. But the trailer looks like it stops at the height of like Thriller.
Yes.
So his look does change a bit even during that period. Certainly his nose, which I know was a big topic of discussion from the trailer, because we get a little clip of him in the studio with Quincy Jones and we see Jafar with a prosthetic. I just don't know how. I mean, it's just tough whenever someone's, trying to create an illusion to not be a little distracted. And certainly Michael is a tough one to emulate physically. I agree that his nephew does a good job with the moves. The most important thing is the music. And because this is from the estate, we are going to get the music. And if we're getting songs from Off the Wall and Thriller, that alone is going to make this a very appealing endeavor. So I think the music alone will keep me engaged.
Sure.
I also think they're going to play it very safe.
Also, who are the siblings?
But, well, before you get to that, I mean, the scandal surrounding Michael up to the point of Thriller was really, his skin tone hadn't really changed yet. The nose job was not, from what I remember from the early 80s, was not the big topic of conversation. It wasn't until his skin started to appear lighter that people really questioned his appearance. Also, his hair was not a big deal until after the Pepsi commercial incident where he started to wear wigs. But before that, he just had a Jerry curl, which everyone had in the late 70s, early 80s. So I think, yes, play it safe, but also at the point where during the period where this movie takes place, I think that probably what would be most scandalous about his story is the abuse from his father. And I don't think they've been shy about talking about Joe Jackson that way.
Right.
So I think we are going to probably get a pretty honest depiction of the sort of taskmaster Joe Jackson was. But, the sexual misconduct charges that followed him in the 90s, that's just not going to be a part of this movie. So we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. The estate's not going to touch that.
But, that opening shot, like an aerial view of a stadium, that was giving Lifetime movie. So that made me nervous. The shot of him, because we get a shot of like the Thriller video, like a reenactment. I thought that looked okay. You know, also there was that VH1 miniseries, like Jackson, an American. What was it called? With Vanessa Williams.
With Vanessa Williams as Diana. Mm-hmm.
I think, was she Diana? I don't remember.
Was she Diana? Was she not Diana? Or who was she in that? I think I've got that wrong before.
And the kid who voiced Simba is my little Michael.
Not Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
No, not Simba. Oh God, he sang the music.
Oh, okay. He was the singer.
I need some coffee. Anyway, it's, you know, the quality of what I saw isn't even at that level.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we're not going to get something like Flex playing Michael Jackson.
No.
So it won't be that bad.
Yes, we can only go up from what has existed in the past.
Anyway, since people asked about it.
Oh, no, Vanessa's Suzanne de Passe.
Right. Who played the mom? What was that series called, by the way?
It was called The Jacksons: An American Dream.
An American Dream.
God, why did I always think Holly Robinson Peete is Diana?
Oh, Angela Bassett is the mom.
Catherine
Jackson. That's right. Jason Weaver. He is Little Michael, and he's the singing voice of Simba in The Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I guess the speaking voice is Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Is that correct?
Yeah, in my memory, that's correct. Oh yeah, Billy D. Williams is Barry Gordy.
You're right. He voiced young Simba, but Jason Weaver provided the singing voice. That's interesting. Anyway.
Yeah, I remember that being on television and my parents watching it.
Jason Weaver has talked, though, about how his mother secured a really good contract for that gig because they wanted to just pay him $3 million. And the mom was like, no, we're getting points on this shit, which I'm sure has netted him significantly more than $3 million. So good for him and his mama. Moving on. So the past week, I've posted several clips from the Hulu series All's Fair, that Ryan Murphy
that looks
production.
Wretched.
So we've received many comments asking if we'll review it. I don't think I could do that. Someone would have to pay me to do that. It just looks wretched.
It does look wretched.
And you know, the thing about Tyler Perry is I feel like it is hard to get through his stuff too.
Yes.
Beauty and Black has been fun because I feel like we know these characters, but to just dive into this nonsense, I don't know. I mean, Kim Kardashian.
I mean, I like
Glenn Close and Niecy Nash appeal to me.
Yeah, same. Oh, I like Naomi Watts too.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's a fine actor, but like to be in this nonsense. And
remember Halle Berry dropped out of it.
Well,
and Tiana
has some sense. Oh, I like Tiana Taylor, but this just feels, and you know, the clips I've been posting look abysmal.
Yes, the dialogue. Ugh.
Also, it's not fun to have to sit through bullshit and like take notes and try to think of something. With Tyler Perry, it's really easy to talk at length.
The poison flows.
I mean, sometimes our recaps are as long as the episodes because it's just so easy to go in with minimal notes. I feel like for All's Fair, I would have to spend a lot of time writing down something to say.
Maybe. You don't know.
I don't know. I mean, at this point, if someone wants to make a financial offer, perhaps, but I'm not for funsies going to watch that nonsense.
It's on Hulu, right?
Yes.
Which we don't have.
Don't have.
So we'd have to pay buku bucks to rent it.
Well, moving on to the restaurant section, we tried Papa John's for the first time in over a decade. No, not that long. It's been years.
It has been years and years, yeah.
But while I was out of town, you tried to order Papa John's through DoorDash.
I had a very difficult Saturday. I didn't want to leave. I was lazy. I'd slept in and I hadn't eaten. And it was like 2:00. I'm like, and there was a deal on Uber Eats. So I'm like, let me order this shit. The first one was delayed and then eventually canceled. I tried reordering, same thing. And somebody got 4 free pizzas that day because they were picked up from the place.
Picked up twice and canceled twice.
Oh, I was
So
mad.
You never actually got your Papa John's. But then when I got home, I said, well, let's get some.
Drive myself there and get it.
So you just had to drive and get it. And we got like their premium pepperoni. So it had like extra shit on it.
Yeah. I think I'm fine with the basic pepperoni.
I think I'm fine with it too. Because basically all it was their regular pepperoni hand tossed. But then they sprinkle Italian seasoning and Parmesan.
I can do that shit at home.
Well, I don't like that. I know your family used to jazz up their frozen
Jazz.
pizzas.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
wouldn't your grandpa put like venison on the Red Baron or something?
Well, there's a classy way to do it and a trashy way to do it, and that man was doing trashy things. Like, I don't need venison balls on my pizza.
I don't know
but
what the classy way is to dress up frozen pizza.
fry up extra vegetables. And
No.
I'd put my own
We're
little
not doing
black
that.
olives.
We're not doing that. But yeah, it's. I probably wouldn't. Well, I mean, it's not that I wouldn't get Papa John's again.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean,
I'm just not itching. And you know what I had to taste for?
that garlic sauce.
It's that damn garlic butter.
I know.
That's what I wanted.
Talk about poison. Oh my God.
Actually, now I have a taste for what's the pizza place on Santa Monica?
Desano.
That damn, they have chili olive oil.
Yeah.
That is
actually hot.
It's yeah. And I eat too much of it. And later that night, it's there's a reminder.
This is what you did to yourself today.
And then the other night we went to, I've complained many times about Bottega Louie in downtown LA, but there's one in West Hollywood. And for some reason we were in West Hollywood.
Yeah, why did we get trapped over there?
I think, sometimes I'll start driving looking for food.
Yes.
And then just end up somewhere I shouldn't be. But we found like VIP parking in West Hollywood. So I just parked. And then I thought, well, since I can't let this parking spot go to waste. So we were in front of Bottega Louie.
And we'd never eaten at that one.
We'd never eaten there. We went in. My complaints are the same. I think the seating there is so basic.
It's
like
very
it just
odd.
doesn't feel like, for that price point, it just feels whatever. And then but what we ordered.
A pizza.
You ordered a pizza as we usually do. And then I ordered chicken parmesan. So when the pizza came out, because how much was it? Like almost $40.
It was $35 for pepperoni pizza. But I'm
like, watch this be like a little personal pizza.
I assumed that it would be. So I was happy to see it was actually large. But
well, it's large but super thin.
That was too expensive for that thin of crust. I'm sorry.
And then my chicken parmesan, my dumbass, I assumed it would come on a bed of like angel hair pasta or something. Baby, they brought out this big ass piece of country fried chicken with cheese and sauce.
This slab of chicken, which
was kind of gross to look at.
It was tasty, but yeah, it was a lot of meat and just meat.
And then when they have desserts like macarons and lots of different.
I think they're famous for that, right?
French pastries. And when we walked in, I saw this very interesting pistachio looking thing. And our server was a very lovely, very slight gay boy.
Yes, he was a young homosexual.
He was probably like 5'7", weighed 100 pounds. So when I asked him about it, I said, have you tried that pistachio thing up there? Oh, I love it. I had to ask like twice, like, are you sure that you've actually tasted it? Because you don't look like. But he said it's the best thing out there. What did you think of that pistachio strawberry cake?
It tasted processed to me, but the taste was nice. It was like a pistachio strawberry tiramisu. I
liked it. You can buy like the sheet of it, but then it's like, I'm not gonna. I mean, I probably would buy.
Nah, Matt.
Well, because the cost of a slice, like you might as well just buy the full cake.
You might as well.
And just have them put it in a to-go box, but give me a fork and I'll gnaw on it before I leave.
And I'll announce loudly that I'm having a party, but it's really just for me.
It's my birthday, but it's not, and this I'm not sharing.
My guests are expecting this, myself and I.
Lastly, we finally, after 14 years, tried Kohl's French dip. That's famous sandwich shop in downtown LA.
Not for lack of trying.
So over the years, like since COVID, it's like announced it's going to close, and then the people go back, and then it stays open. We tried to go like maybe 10 years ago.
Maybe well, it was before the pandemic because
it was before the pandemic.
Red
Line was
still open. Yeah,
the gay bar downtown that's now closed. But you know me, if I walk into a place and the vibe is not right, I will smooth walk out.
We had to stand for maybe just a little too long, and I think that's how we discovered the place next door, which is now closed. It was called Black Dog or something,
which I really liked.
I did too.
I really liked that space. They were good for burgers, hot dogs, and tater tots,
chicken sandwiches,
but it had a very luxe feel. It was like dark leather and wood. It felt like you were in a bar in like Boston somewhere. But then they served this, which it was elevated like bar food.
I did like that place. Anyway, yeah.
Kohl's, we walk in and immediately to me that vibe was not right. But There was a very lovely man working there who said, "Have you eaten here before?" No. He's like, "Well, we don't have servers here. So you just go to the bar and order, and then we bring your food to you."
Mhm.
And he was lovely.
He was nice, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, great. So we stand at that bar and
Well, old girl was making like craft cocktails. That shit. When I order drinks like I order coffee. I want whatever is smooth and fast and does the trick. Because when somebody's taking 10 minutes to shave the lime and do orange spirals, it's like, Jesus Christ.
well, her service was not good.
No,
She
but
didn't greet anyone standing at the bar. She was like lethargic in her motion.
she
And she
didn't.
just looked like she didn't want to be there. So it's like, great.
I want to be like, are you happy that you're not closing? Or
Yeah, but whatever. And then of course I'm so irritated having to tip before I even get my shit. So it's
yes,
like, this bitch wants a and the food's not cheap. So it's like you're getting a big tip to give me zero service.
to open a beer for me,
And then you ordered a Guinness and she gave you like a non-alcoholic one. I don't know why
which I didn't know till the can came and it was open, and then she'd opened the can, so I was going to take it, but she's like, no, 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 I'll get you the.
Well, yeah, why would you assume I'd want a
Well,
non-alcoholic?
it's fine, but
But that's the problem, is like not communicating, not even making eye contact.
the Guinness,
Partially, she had them heavy ass fake eyelashes on, so she probably couldn't open her eyes. But
like Kimmy. The Guinness I did get, though, I haven't had one of those in a while. That was really good.
yeah.
It tasted like chocolate.
Anyway, moving on to films released we didn't cover.
Oh,
Peter Hujar's Day.
yeah, the new Ira Sachs somehow has eluded me. Because Sundance, we did Sundance from home and it wasn't available. Berlin, it was impossible to get into a public screening at the end of the festival. And then all the press screenings have been like during the middle of the day here. But I do really want to see it. I love Ira Sachs and Ben Mashaw.
Sentimental Value.
We almost saw this, but the press screening we were going to go to came during a week of illness in the household. But this is actually pretty good. Joachim Trier, starring Stellan Skarsgård and Renata Rensva, and Elle Fanning.
And Train Dreams.
This is apparently excellent. Maybe we'll review it the week it comes out on Netflix. This is they released it in limited theatrical capacity this week, but starring Joel Edgerton. But I've heard really good things about this. So purportedly, it's excellent.
Projects of Interest. My Darling California.
Elijah Bynum, who directed Magazine Dreams, which we reviewed with Jonathan Majors, which is excellent. He's because I think it's the American film market's going on right now, so there's all these buzzy projects that have been announced in the trades, including officially the new Sigourney Weaver Meryl Streep movie, Useful Idiots. But Jessica Chastain, Josh Brolin, Don Cheadle, Mikey Madison, and Charles Melton, the Discovery from May-December, are going to be in Elijah Bynum's new movie.
And then there's a Miss Piggy film.
Kohl Escola apparently is writing a script for a Miss Piggy project that's being, at least at the moment, produced by Jennifer Lawrence and Emma Stone.
Oh.
So that should be interesting. And then I forgot to put on this list to you, Sigourney Weaver had a new interview for Empire Magazine that came out, and she mentioned that she might be working with this brilliant young director named Stephen Fingleton. So I've been trying to investigate what that could be. It might be a project called The Waif. That's what apparently he's working on right now. Anyhow.
All right. This past week on Patreon, we reviewed the original The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 30 Days of Night, and a documentary, William S. Burroughs, A Man Within. So if people want to hear those, they can give us money on Patreon. Unfortunately, there are entries in the obituaries section.
There are deaths.
Lee Tamahori died.
Yeah, kind of shocking because he just had a new movie I saw last year with Guy Pearce.
He's a New Zealand film director.
We actually have a review for his most notable film,
Once Were Warriors,
with Rena Owen, who you met in person. We saw her at the airport in Honolulu.
That's right. She was extremely lovely.
Yes.
He died at the age of 75.
Poor thing. Yeah, the new movie, it was 2023 title called The Convert. And apparently he has a film in post-production. So he was 75, but I guess it was unexpected.
Hmm. And then Diane Ladd died.
Yeah.
She is an American actress. She's been nominated
Three
for 3
times.
Academy Awards for Alice Don't Live Here Anymore, Wild at Heart, and Rambling Rose.
Mm-hmm. All excellent.
I'm not familiar with her.
Yes, you are. You.
I don't think.
Uh-huh.
I don't recognize her.
Well, she's Laura Dern's mama.
Oh.
And the film that you really liked with her is it called Hush Little Baby?
What?
Yeah. After we watched that, you talked and talked and talked about that movie and what we're referencing. I guess it's tumbled out of your
I'm
memory.
sorry. Say the name of that movie again.
I think it's called Hush Little Baby from 1994. Don't you remember where she's like, she rediscovers her biological daughter?
No.
And her daughter's got a kid, and she starts acting like she's the young mother to the daughter.
What?
And
Hush Little Baby?
Yes, you talked about it for so long after we watched it.
This sounds like a lie. I talked about it for so long.
You did. You are on record in this very podcast publication talking about this damn movie.
Oh my God. Is this the one where she jumps off the patio?
At the end into the pile of leaves? Yes.
This was a good movie. Hush Little Baby, starring Diane Ladd. Yes, I do recommend that movie. Well, she, she supported Jesse Jackson's 1988 presidential campaign.
Mm-hmm.
She was also married to Robert Charles Hunter, who was at one point the CEO of PepsiCo. So she's
Joan
kind of in
Crawford.
a league similar to Joan Crawford.
Yes. And of course, she had Laura Dern with Bruce Dern.
Wait, so this is Bruce Dern's baby mama?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were both kind of coming up around the same time in the 70s. Well, he was around, his first movie was Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte with Betty Davis, so 64.
Well, Diane died at the age of 89. She will be missed.
Yeah. You've also seen Wild at Heart, even though you don't remember it.
Okay. The secret film this week was your choice.
That's right.
And you chose the 1996 American drama film Marvin's Room, directed by Jerry Zaks.
Yes, who is better known as a stage director. I think he's won a couple Tonys for his work on Broadway. He hasn't really directed a lot of films. This is based on a play that was also adapted by the playwright who died of AIDS in 1992. He was one of the first out gay playwrights, apparently, Scott McPherson. And his partner, who was an activist, died also of AIDS in 1992, just a couple months after him.
Why did you choose this film?
Because we never played due deference to Diane Keaton dying, the previous Diane that went. So I wanted to highlight one of my favorite performances of hers that I don't think a lot of people talk about or maybe remember.
Well, this film has a stacked cast because it's Diane Keaton, Myrtle Streep, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Robert De Niro.
And Hume Cronin and Gwen Verdon, and Margot Martindale and Kelly Ripa and Cynthia Nixon.
The premise: after 17 years, a fiercely independent woman and her rebellious son return home, and together they turn the family she left behind upside down. I didn't know anything about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot.
I remember seeing it in 6th grade. That was the year it came out.
It's an odd bird.
It's definitely odd. Diane did get an Oscar nomination. She lost to Frances McDormand for Fargo. And in fact, I learned years later, Sigourney Weaver apparently was offered the Meryl Streep role. And she said she regrets turning it down because that was her chance to work with Diane Keaton.
The story... Diane Keaton plays this lady named Bessie. She lives in Florida. She's a spinster of sorts. She has basically dedicated her life to taking care of her dad and her aunt, who are aging and sick.
And dad is Hume Cronin, whose name is Marvin, hence the title.
Diane's doctor is played by Robert De Niro, and he notifies her one day that he's concerned about leukemia, tests her, and discovers that she does have leukemia, and the best treatment is a bone marrow transplant for the type of leukemia she has. And he says, well, I don't think your dad or your aunt are going to be a good match or viable, but I see in your medical records you have a sister. Could you ask her? Well, I haven't talked to that bitch in forever. Well, I mean, maybe she'll help you out because you're dying. So Diane Keaton calls her sister Lee, played by Meryl Streep.
Mm-hmm.
And Meryl Streep's character is a piece of work.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, the opening of the film, I was a little confused because I didn't know what to expect. And based on Meryl's performance, I thought this was a comedy.
Uh-huh.
Because she is raggedy as hell.
Yes. Yeah, she's trash in the house.
She lives in Ohio. She's about to graduate cosmetology school. She has 2 children who appear to be like 17 and maybe like 10.
Mm-hmm.
And the 17-year-old is played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
And he has severe behavioral issues.
Yes.
This fool sets the house on fire.
Yep, that's how we meet him.
And as a result, he is committed to a juvenile psychiatric facility. But Meryl gets him out for a week so that they can travel down to Florida.
And his therapist is Margot Martindale.
To do this bone marrow test. And a running plot line is that Leonardo's character has not agreed to do the test. But they get down there, and the bulk of the movie is Meryl and Diane reconnecting as sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And there's never really a reason that's given except they grew apart.
Well, Meryl she did not want to help out with Dad. She kind of ran away from her sister, and she had her own abusive relationship she was in.
So they just aren't very well connected.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, as you can predict over the course of the story, they reconnect. And then, of course, the big question is the bone marrow transplant. And we find out towards the end, unfortunately, no one is a match. So Diane's just going to continue with the treatment, which we're told is, I mean, pointless. It'll just extend her life a little bit, but
yes.
like meaning she might live a year. And then the other question is, will Meryl stay to take care of her dad and aunt?
Mm-hmm.
And the film has an open ending because we don't know. I mean, Diane just finds out that she's not going to get the transplant. So that's that. And the final shot is Meryl organizing her dad's medication for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the film ends. So you can assume that Diane's going to die soon. And it had been offered to Meryl, like, because they get into a bit of a fight. Mm-hmm. And Diane says, "You're so stupid. Why don't you just move here?
You can have the house.
Your sons like it here. You can have this house. You can raise your family here. You can be a cosmetologist in Florida."
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can assume that Meryl probably did move her family to Florida and, you know, took over responsibilities for the family.
And she graduated from cosmetology school and all's well.
Yeah, I mean, I hope.
I hope for her.
But yeah, the opening is crazy because she, I mean, you know, my mom shared with me, because when she was pregnant with me, my mom was on public assistance and like received WIC. And she said that part of that was she had to take parenting classes.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I got older, and sometimes she would say like, "Oh, I learned in the parenting classes this." And so the impression I get from my mom is that these classes were beneficial. Mm-hmm. But I kept thinking when we see Meryl, like, this lady needed some parenting classes.
Oh yeah.
Like she doesn't know, like parenting 101. Like well, be nice and patient.
It's just, you know, watching parents and the kids where it's just like, wow, you have no hope because you both can't help each other. Like fuss and
it's so crazy that it's comical. Well, so then I was very concerned.
Well, and that leaves you on edge because this mom and son have that kind of relationship where it's like, this is a powder keg and at any minute everything could explode.
But I wanted to talk about films that I think maybe are similar.
Okay.
In terms of endearment.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Steel Magnolias.
Mm-hmm.
And The Hours.
Yeah, The Hours is a bit more contained.
But I think when I think about those 3 films, this one feels real odd. It doesn't really fit. Like it feels like a comedy that sort of turns into like a melodrama that then once Diane Keaton does give a good performance, and I think once she settles into like her situation and dealing with her sister, then I took it a little more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like at the halfway point.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first half, I was kind of side-eyeing this movie. I was entertained, but I felt like weird about it.
Well, it also feels very much like the kind of film that would come out in the 90s, the type of melodramas that could and would get made. And but the score, oh my goodness, by Rachel Portman is so weepy
Yeah, it's definitely trying to point you in a direction.
at all times. And it's just like I feel like if it didn't have that score, that'd be kind of a much more elegant film.
Leonardo DiCaprio's brother, Charlie, his name is Hal Scardino.
Who I think this was his last film, but right before this, he was the lead in the adaptation of The Indian in the Cupboard, which was a very notable YA book and maybe series when I was in elementary school.
Well, I saw that title and I was like, what in the hell? And so I looked up the movie, and it is about like a little
Indian in a cupboard. It's a magical film. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I remember liking that book as a kid.
So Leo's in the psychiatric facility. Meryl is forced to go visit the psychiatrist for like a parent-teacher thing, or parent-teacher.
She smokes in this movie more than Silkwood.
And
Meryl.
She's so like uninterested in her son. Like it's very clear that she's just tired of his ass. And the psychiatrist is like, okay.
Well, he did just burn down the house. I'd be very sore.
But the psychiatrist is like, well, do you want to see your son? Sure. And she takes her, but then he's been restrained and sedated. So I don't know why. I mean, I do think it was important for her to see her son in that condition. But Meryl is just sitting there looking so unbothered and like ready to go. And she's snacking on M&Ms. She's offering the doctor M&Ms. And then when she's ready to leave, her son, who is strapped to a bed and is unconscious, she pours some M&Ms on his chest for later. And I just thought, I can't take this movie seriously. Okay, then Robert De Niro as the doctor is also comedic.
Yes.
Because he's doing his thing, but he's kind of like affable. And then his brother Bob is portrayed by
Dan Hedaya,
who is supposed to be mentally ill, I think.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, he calls him an idiot. He does seem like an idiot, but then we find out that I think his brother's medicated, like on lithium.
Yes.
But
yes, Patty Duke.
But it's funny because every time we're at the doctor's office, which is quite often in this movie, Bob, Dan Hedaya's character, works at like the front desk, and he's trying to give instructions to either Meryl or Diane Keaton. And so he'll say like, can you fill out this form? And Robert De Niro will interrupt him like,
every time,
like, Bob, be quiet, and then literally ask him to do the thing that Bob was saying. So then I felt like you probably drove your brother crazy because you're undermining him at every turn. I think the funniest moment with Bob is he's trying to tell, I believe it's Diane Keaton, that when he was born he weighed 1 pound.
Yes.
And his brother Robert De Niro, the doctor, is like, man, you ain't weigh no 1 pound, okay?
I was as big as the snow globe.
Oh. Yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, the amount of cigarette smoking in this movie is really
it's wild. It's
unnecessary. It's just too much.
Well, when you watch old Hollywood studio black and white films from, any era, and they're like, oh yeah, they smoked back then. But this is the 90s, and it's like I was alive in spaces where everybody just smoked all the time.
Please stop smoking. Please, please, please stop smoking. At one point, I think it's when they're driving from Ohio to Florida. Of course, Meryl can't go 1 mile down the road without a cigarette, so she busts out the cigs, lights one, and then Leonardo DiCaprio grabs her cig box, grabs one, and then grabs a lighter. And Meryl says, oh no, after you burned down my house, you can't play with this lighter. So what does she do? She hands the cigarette to the 10-year-old and tells him, light it for your brother. It's too much. It's just too much. Someone take these children away.
Yeah, she's not a very good mom.
Okay, the movie's called Marvin's Room. Marvin is Diane and Meryl's dad, who is, I
Oh,
mean, I'm assuming in full blown dementia and in bed just screaming and hollering.
oh, Hume, who is in his late 80s at this point, who used to be married to Jessica Tandy.
He doesn't have much to do but lay in that bed looking dusty and screaming. But the Aunt Ruth,
Gwen Verdon.
so she's also loony, and she's obsessed with a soap opera, a daytime soap opera starring Kelly Ripa. And so that's all she talks about, which is funny. But I think the funniest thing about Aunt Ruth is she suffers from chronic pain, and she has some device on her. I think it's some sort of like magnetic thing with radio frequency that helps with the pain. And she wears it like a belt. But what's funny is every time someone hugs her, like when Meryl and her kids come to show up, every time she gets a hug, she screams in pain.
After first, she's like, give me a proper hug. And then it's like, girl.
And then she's like, ah! Then after the pain hits, she uses her device. But another gag is that the device also makes the garage door open and close. So again, the first like half hour of this movie, I was so confused.
Well, because it's a quirky comedy that
Right.
that really is kind of at odds. But I can see, I feel like it probably, that broadness helped it on stage maybe.
It definitely feels like a stage play, and I definitely think that whomever wrote it was wise to inject some levity.
Yes.
Because then, I mean, otherwise there are so many, like what would set this apart? It's just a depressing story about two sisters trying to reconnect. So I appreciate the humor.
Well, because watch the circumstances in which Diane Keaton lives. It, even rewatching this again last night, I find it really depressing because the situation, and it is very authentic.
Well, I was thinking something similar went on in my family, where one of my aunts took care of my grandparents, her parents.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of did it like she took on that sole responsibility and made it her entire identity for like a 10-year period. And my mom wanted nothing to do with her parents. They were shit parents to her. She didn't give a damn. Like she would drag us there to visit. Drag us. I was an adult at that point, but we would go and she would kind of just like pay her, little respects, but she couldn't stand her parents. And based on the story she told me, I understand why. But anyway, it was very interesting because I also felt sad for Diane, because at a point when it seems like she's settled into her mortality, she has an exchange with her sister Meryl where she says, I feel really lucky because I found love. Mm-hmm. And Meryl's kind of like, who the fuck did you love?
Well, yeah.
And she's like, well, no, like I got the chance to love my dad and my aunts, like taking care of them. And while I do think that's noble, and of course, if I had to take care of my mom, my aunt, I would do it because I love them and care about them. But I kind of felt sad for her. Like,
oh, definitely.
Her entire adulthood will have been defined by kind of just.
It's a sacrifice. She made a sacrifice.
It's noble, but it's because then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Meryl Streep's character who says like, I didn't want to be a part of this trap. But then it's also like, yeah, you got into a different trap.
Yeah.
You married a man who was abusive to your children, because we find out that a big reason why Meryl and Leonardo, her son, have this contentious relationship is because Meryl refuses to talk about their dad. And Leo's craving info about his dad and has made up some imaginary
race car driver.
He's like this famous race car driver, and he makes up these stories about how dad used to take us to do this. And Meryl finally one day goes, no, he didn't.
At Disney.
While they're at Disney World, she burst his bubble talking about, your dad wasn't shit. Okay. He didn't do any of the shit you think he did. You know why he's not here? Because he used to physically abuse you and your brother. Mm-hmm. So I finally had enough. But then she frames it kind of like, thanks to you, I lost my man. So it's really unhealthy. But she's like, finally, I just had to pack up our bags and leave because your dad was beating you up. Mm-hmm. No, he wasn't. How you were 4 years old. Like, you're blocking it out, but that's what he did. So, it's so interesting because Meryl's looking at her sister like, what a sad life. But I feel like your sister's looking at you the same way.
Yeah.
Like you were in this terrible relationship with this man who left you with these two kids you don't know what to do with. So the power of the story to me is these two sisters reconnecting, realizing maybe something about the lives they've led, but also why. Because a big theme is how many times do they say, like, we really weren't close like that?
Yeah. One of the scenes that always stuck out in my mind in this film is Diane, Bessie, relating what happened to the one man that she had an affair with.
Oh my God, because at one point, Meryl's trying to connect with Diane, and Diane's wearing a wig at this point because of the chemotherapy. And Meryl's like, let me put you in some makeup and style your wig. So we get a scene where they're doing it. And then, like you said, Diane says, I was in love once. And Meryl's like, bullshit, with whom? And then we find out that Diane was in love with a carny.
Yep.
Which I know we're not supposed to say, but that's what they said.
Yep.
That she was in love with a carny. And because she was in love with a carny worker, she couldn't tell anyone because they would have clowned her ass.
Yeah.
And so, of course, at first, Meryl's laughing like, bitch, you lying. And then she's like, no, for real, the guy who ran the da-da-da-da. And Meryl remembers him. She's like, oh, damn, he was hot. And then we find out that the reason it never went anywhere, beyond the fact that she felt like no one would accept it, is that man choked and died.
In front of people, and they thought he was laughing.
And they thought he was just playing, like he was laughing.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a really powerful scene because when it hits Meryl, like, oh, shit. She gets emotional, but she doesn't want to show it.
Mm-hmm.
So she tells her sister, oh, let me go get a brush for your wig. So Meryl goes to the bathroom and we see she had the brush in her pocket. Yeah. She went to the bathroom so she could like compose herself.
Well, because she's just seen her sister without her wig
on. Yeah. Of course she looks, severe. But I think that's the point in the movie where it switches. Like, oh, this is like a serious
where it suddenly becomes very tender.
And I think it wasn't jarring, but it was definitely like, I liked the journey I was on because I was having fun and giggling and side-eyeing, and then it's like it hits you.
Like, oh, this shit's serious.
Like this is real, but that's kind of life, right? Like,
yes, like suddenly you have to focus, and like this is we can no longer hide from the obvious.
When Leo first gets to the house, God, his mom, Meryl, she's so fussy and constantly like, I can see why he would be driven crazy by her, but I could also see why she would just be like at her wit's end.
She's over it. Yeah. Well, teenagers, Jesus.
And Diane is just sitting there like, damn, this is really toxic. And Diane's trying to connect with Leo. At one point, she gives him his grandfather's toolbox, and he seems really like surprised. And she asks him about like, why did he do what he do? But I thought the funniest moment of all of it is Leo's character just says very casually regarding the house fire, if the fire hadn't spread up the street, it probably wouldn't be such a big deal. Right. I'm like, wait, what? Other homes burned down? Because we don't see that.
No.
And he just says it so like, this man burned down. Well, this kid burned down multiple homes.
And now you're going to spend years convincing everybody you're not a little firebug.
So at one, Diane is continuing to try to reconnect with, one, I think, interesting, maybe deficit of the story is we only really see Diane connecting with Leo.
Yeah.
She doesn't really interact with the other brother. But at one point, she needs to go to the doctor and she asks Leo, do you want to come with me? You can drive. And Meryl's like looking through the window mad. Like, ugh, he's behaving for this bitch, but he's really a little monster. So Leo's like, really? I can drive? Mm-hmm, let's go. So they go for a drive. And I'm not quite recalling, but do they decide to skip the doctor?
No, I think
or they just take a detour.
Yeah.
They take a detour to the beach and they're sitting there and it's a lovely day. And I said to you, like, she needs to be careful because this little raggedy boy is going to drive into the ocean. And then, boop, he puts that car in drive and drives into the ocean.
That's a sweet scene, though.
It's sweet, but I
was nervous.
Nerves were like...
Well, because at one point it's like, oh, he's going far in the water. That got...
Oh, my... I would have lost it. Okay. The wig cutting.
The cutting of the...
when Meryl's cutting the wig, it looks crazy.
Yes.
And I was so worried. I was so worried. And then when Diane puts the wig on, it's a little crazy.
Well, it ages her somehow like
She
10
looks,
years.
yeah, she looks crazy. But I have to say, when the next day when they go to Disney World and it's kind of because they had a lot of volume, and but when they get to Disney World, well, when they're driving and the wind's in her hair and they get to Disney World, I actually thought she looked really chic in that short wig because the original wig was like a concentrated bob with bangs, so it just looks really wiggy,
like Tilda Swinton in Snowpiercer.
Yes, but the new look was quite cute. And actually, I kept thinking with the shorter cut, Diane Keaton reminded me of Diane Weiss.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
But that scene at Disney always bothers me because they all kind of all the parties kind of separate a little bit, and
Diane's on her own.
She's on her own, and she's not feeling well in the heat, and she's drinking a drink. And I also remember that imagery where suddenly there's blood in the straw, and she freaks out and gets up and faints and hits her head, and
she collapses. And then it's like one of the Disney workers, Goofy, takes her to like the Disney
Mickey's
hospital.
house.
Yeah, and that was sad.
Yeah,
but I do really like what this film demonstrates, because it's about what it means to care for people. I think that was like the biggest thing I got, is like all the ways in which we care for people, like as siblings, as parents, as caregivers.
Well, and how it's really easy to just cut off people in your family and not really know how to bridge that gap after so much time has passed. Because I think this film hit hard for me as a kid, because that was really how my family was. There are aunts and uncles, and there are people, they might as well have disappeared because we just, for whatever, there was some family argument and there's no we're not on speaking terms.
Forgiveness is important.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think I'm glad that by the end of the film, it seems like Meryl's going to be able to get over her feelings, because she feels abandoned by her family. That's the first big fight they have, is that Diane's like, you didn't want to come help, and you never, like, you're mad that I didn't send your kids birthday cards, but we weren't that close, and you don't call me. But Meryl also feels like, well, it's a two-way street.
It is.
You didn't reach out to me. But it's complicated, because I didn't ask to be born, and now it's my responsibility to take care of my parents. And
then
do I not get to live a life? And
you get wrapped up in, a single mother of two teenage boys, one who burned down my house. I mean, and now you're living in a convent.
I didn't even mention that, because they're homeless. Leo's in the psychiatric facility, but Meryl has to go live in a convent. Actually, the first time she gets a phone call while she's at the convent, and someone, what do they call her? Like Sister
De Niro calls, and he realizes she's at a convent. He's like, "Oh, can I talk to Sister Lee Lacker?"
And those nuns are laughing,
cackling. A phone call for Sister Lee Lacker.
But yeah, and then, like we already mentioned, I think sacrifice. Diane, sacrificed her life to care for her family.
Well,
but in the end, she says like that this meant so much to her.
Well, because there's always an alternative perspective with which we can look at things and embrace the silver lining. And what you can't always get what you want, you get what you need. And I think I like all of Diane's scenes with Hume Cronin and Gwen Verdon, where she's tending to them like children, but she's very kind and patient and loving and exasperated. But it just felt very human and touching.
Meryl Streep and Diane Keaton had worked previously on Manhattan together.
Yeah, it's a great Woody Allen film.
And then Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio, we reviewed them in
This Boy's Life.
This Boy's Life.
So they were already acquainted. De Niro produced this, and he's worked with Killers of the Flower Moon. Those two know each other very well. And then De Niro and Meryl Streep, of course, have acted together at least twice.
In what?
Falling in Love from 1985 comes to mind.
Oh, that divorce movie? Is that the one where they're like, or is that Meryl Streep and...
That's Dustin Hoffman. That's Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh, I'm thinking of Kramer versus
Is that what
Kramer.
you mean?
Yeah.
But God, what was the other one they were in? Because they were in Falling in Love in 85. and they're in something else. You know, they were supposed to be in The Good House. They were originally cast, with Sigourney Weaver and Kevin Kline.
Hmm.
Those two were originally cast when from a screenplay by Michael Cunningham, who wrote The Hours.
Well, what would you give Marvin's Room?
I think, it's not perfect by far, but I really like both these ladies. I think it's a really interesting little time capsule. The prestige years of Miramax in the 90s. But I would give it 3.5.
Oh, I didn't, the title I think means that it's in Marvin's room that this family reconnects.
Yes. And oh God, for some reason that also depresses me because, Hume Cronin, who has dementia, Diane sits on him with the bed and uses this mirror to refract light on the wall. And that he sits and watches and is like, God, that really depresses me.
But I would give this film 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was very good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what's happening this week? I know there are reviews for The Carpenter's Son and Sirat.
Yes.
And I know I'm going to be forced to watch things like
The Running Man.
The Running Man, Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme is going to be one of the big deal films this year. Oh, and the new Osgood Perkins this week.
Oh, God.
What?
So just keep watching more movies.
Yes.
My favorite thing to do.
I know it. I know it.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I'm reading Last of the Mohicans.
Good for you.
Which I've always wanted to read because I really want to rewatch the Michael Mann adaptation, which is one of the best, my favorite film scores, like definitely my top 10 film scores of all time. And I've been really wanting to rewatch it, but I was determined to read the book first.
All right. All done?
Yeah.
Ta-ta.